What's up, everybody? Welcome to the living room. We are so excited that you are here. Today, I am joined by my awesome friends, Sarah. Let's clap it up for Sarah, Emma. Okay, all right. And then we got already said her name. We got Emma. Okay, Emma. Woo! And then, as always, I am your host, Nate. What's up? So, guys, you guys are too good.
Yay.
Too good to me. Listen, I am excited to be here with you both. I think it's just always fun when we get to talk and we get to have good conversations. And I'm excited about what we're talking about today because it's something that I know is near and dear to all of our hearts, and inspiring people to make a difference in the world, like and encourage people that they can in fact do it. If we can do it, okay, which I think we've made a difference. Well, I always say you two have. Well, two of the three of us have.
Figure out who it is.
But no, I think that like if you guys can do it, like if we can do it, I hope that we can inspire other people to do it. And so we're talking about how you make a difference, why we want to do that. You know, is that built in us, and encourage people in doing that. And so that's where we're going today. But just the question to jump right in on is, why do people want to make a difference? Like, I think like that's a really important thing to start with. Like, why does somebody want to make a difference? Like, where does that come from? What do you guys think?
I think there's like a big part of us that like wants to be known for doing something that matters and like doing something that is beyond ourselves, or like something to like help make the world a better place. And I think that is like just this innate desire like in all of us to do something that matters and to do something like significant or that makes a difference.
I think even just like selfishly you normally feel better about it, and like if you get recognition, that feels good. So I mean, that's like a pretty selfish reason. I shouldn't say selfish, but like that's just very like high view, pretty like basic reason to do it. But I do agree with you where I think there is something in us that we want to make a difference in other people's lives and our own lives, and not just make a difference, but make it like almost a better difference, or like we're improving or just like making some sort of positive change that benefits other people. And through benefiting other people, tends to benefit ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Like I think that we all want to like. There's if we pause long enough to think about it through all of life's busyness or whatever, that there is part of us that we want to like look back at our life or season of life and be like, I made a difference. I made an impact. Like the world is a little bit better because of what I did. And that can be a good thing. I know it can also come with some pressure, but I think that that's definitely a good thing. How so we have that in us. What do we do with that? Like where would you say somebody's like, I want to make an impact. I want to have a legacy. I want to make a difference. Like, what would you say to the person that's what they want to do? What would you say to them?
I'll go first.
Sure. I think that's a good desire to have. I think that's a good place to start, of just saying, if you want to make a difference, you are able to do that. So find ways to do that. I think the biggest thing to realize, and that I'm still kind of learning and realizing, is that the littlest things matter. And so you don't have to go across the world. Like, you can, and that's amazing. And we encourage people to do that. But you don't have to start there. Because I think a lot of times when people think of making a difference, they think of the big things. And again, those are really good things, but you can just start really small. And I mean, as easy as just when you are at a coffee shop buying someone else's coffee. But you can also then go out into the community, and I'm sure wherever you are, there are so many nonprofits that are looking for help. And like, just grab 2 or 3 of your friends and just go and find something that you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to learn any new skills. I'm sure you have a skill that you can put to use and make a difference, whether it's anyone can. I think anyone can ladle soup into a bowl at a soup kitchen.
Yeah.
I think anyone can like serve at like a meal home where they're just like giving out meals. You can help pack like clothes to give out. Like there are very simple tasks that you can do that will make a very big difference in someone's life. So I do think, again, if you want to go big, you can totally do that. And I encourage you to do that. But I think if that's intimidating and you feel like you can't make a difference if you're not doing that, there are so many other ways. And honestly, I think not that going across the world is not making a big impact, but I often think just the little things are just as impactful or even more impactful of like doing that for the ones that are closest around you.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think before you answer, Sarah, like I think one of the big takeaways I hear in that, or at least applications, is like pay attention to what breaks your heart.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's something that you are passionate about, that you care about, that you'd be surprised how you could potentially help out. But stop and pay attention. What are you passionate about? Like what breaks your heart? I think it's a great starting point. What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, just like hearing what both of you were saying, like I think one of the ways that I've like seen this a lot and like just that comes to mind is like if you've been on a Sojourn spring break trip, you know that we like say that the theme of the week is always that it's not about you. And I think that is like what I think about when I think about like how can I make a difference or how can we make a difference, like just answering or like thinking to myself or like ourselves, like what can I do to make this like not about me? Like how can I put other people first and how can I like serve other people in a way that's not about me? And so like I think like a lot of the examples, Emma, that you gave are like really good of like being able to put other people before ourselves. And I think like sometimes like what you were saying earlier, like it can be sometimes we can serve other people to like want to be recognized and to want people to be like, oh, like you did such a good job, like you like really made a difference.
But
and like
is that really serving other people?
Right. And like that again, like it's like tough when you like hear that and like not that you like shouldn't do it if you're like thinking that way, but like to be like, how can I like serve someone and not need to get recognition, but to put other people first? And so like I think like any way that you can do that of like putting other people before yourself, before your own like comfort or like doing things that make you uncomfortable, like in a safe way, but like getting outside of your comfort zone to put other people first, I think is a huge way to make a difference.
Yeah. I think you kind of bring up an interesting point where oftentimes, I know for me especially, I can kind of get in this like putting on my service hat and going to like when we go on spring break or we go volunteer places, it's really easy to kind of get in that mindset of I'm going to serve other people, so it's not about me. But what would it look like if I just adopted that in my everyday life, where like there are so many opportunities just throughout the day where like it's not about me, so like what can I do? And so again, like I'm not saying don't go on spring break, don't go on these volunteer opportunities, but what would it look like to adopt that mindset just every day? And I think that would make a even bigger difference.
Yeah.
I think like, so one of the, actually we were just talking before recording a little bit about this, that for me, I think that, so if you want to follow Jesus, this whole idea of it's not about you is like front and center, right? Like this is like, there should not be selfish Christians. I mean, there are, okay, but that means that we're missing the mark on following Jesus, because Jesus, at the end of the day, the most basic thing he said that was important for us to remember is that we are to love other people as he loved us. Well, how did he love? Well, he was selfless. He sacrificed. He gave. And that was just who he was. Now, we're never going to fully hit the mark on that, but we should be striving. That should be the goal, that we are just serving. And I think that this is what you both were driving at, is that like that should just be who we are as people, right? Like that should just be in your like we're serving people, and that's at least if you want to follow Jesus. If you don't want to follow Jesus, you can do whatever you want. But for those people who say that they're Christians or they love Jesus and they want to be like Jesus, being like Jesus is not just a 1 week service trip. Right? That's a great place to start. But being like Jesus is serving just all the time, right? Like just serving regularly. You know, And yeah, there's many ways that can look, but I think that I know for us that there's a big place where this is rooted is that we want to be like Jesus, and that's what it looks like. And so I thought it'd be fun if we could brag about some people. Don't brag about yourself because that's the opposite of what I literally just said. But if we could brag about some people, I think that'd be really cool. And I'll just say that like we're gonna share these with you guys because I want when you watch this or you listen to this that I hope that what you hear from us is that like these people that we're gonna brag about, they're just, you know, I don't want to just say like normal people, but like, they're like they're normal people. I mean, like they you know, they're not this like they had everything going for them. They just had all the time and money and energy in the world. But there are people that I have seen make real differences in the world and in people's lives. And you know, they're just like anyone else. The thing that makes them different is that they made it a priority in their life to serve, and they went out of their way to have this lifestyle of serving in some way or another. So anyway, I think it'd be really fun if we could brag about some people.
Yeah.
And so I'll pass it off to you guys. Like, who are some people you've seen serve or make a difference, make an impact in the world?
Do you want to go or you want to go?
I can go first.
Okay.
I think just like thinking about, I mean, we get to work with students every day, and so like it's really fun to see this. But I think like an example is Alec and Alan, just seeing them like, I mean, getting started at PC and like seeing them be so excited about it and like being willing and like wanting to like,
let's go Friars.
I'm wearing my PC sweatshirt today too.
Repping.
So, but like just seeing them like sacrifice like things that they would want for themselves to like go out of their way to make sure that like we're doing things to reach PC students has been really cool to see that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have two as well. One of our students in Newport, Megan, she's a senior this year, but she just has such a heart for just serving this very specific community of just like sexual assault survivors and like the family around that. And she is working towards making it like a legitimate nonprofit. And like whenever I talk about it, it's just one of those things when you see, or whenever she talks about it, you can just see in her eyes how deeply she cares about like this cause in it. And so I'm really excited to see as she continues to kind of like finish up school, but develop that, how she's going to continue to serve and even use her degree in that kind of way. And so I'm really excited for her, and she is doing some really cool things. And then the other one is an alumni, and I know you guys both know her, but Jolie, whenever I think about service, Jolie always comes to mind, where I was lucky enough to go to school with her. So this is a couple years ago, but she was always serving on our campus. Like she was big in the community service office. And even like, we're both graduated now, but that hasn't changed with her. I know like out in California still tries to find opportunities, and just like I think that's a big part of who she is, where when I think of her, I think of how she serves other people and just like finding an underserved kind of community or group of people. And she's like, what can I do to serve them?
That's huge. Yeah. For me, I think of, probably because I just made a video about her the other day, but Deanna, who's joining our team.
Let's talk about her.
and part of what I think about her though is that like her whole story, it's just the model of what if I could draw it up for somebody, this is what I would draw up for them, because she, you know, whether or not you know you do this through Sojourn, that part doesn't matter. But for her, she was a Sojourn student. Goes on spring break, you know, does all the service stuff. We volunteered at the hospital, Polar Plunge, where we raise money for different causes in the world. And she's involved in all of that, and all that's great. But in that, she paid attention to something that broke her heart, and it was she's a teacher. She had a degree in teaching. She got her master's in working with special needs kids and special education, and she pay attention to the thing that broke her heart, where that she found out that there were, through a service trip, that there were kids in Nairobi, Kenya, who with special needs who weren't getting the education that they needed because they didn't have the resources or the training to, like, what do you do with these kids? Like, it's an intense job, it's intense work. Well, here's Deanna, who just living her life fully qualified to answer all those questions and help implement curriculum and all that stuff. And so Deanna's like, I could help here. So why wouldn't I? I'm just gonna go. And she went for like 14, 15 months. She went and spent time, and she set it up to where, like, it can continue beyond her. She's jumping in on our team, which is exciting. But, like, you know, I just think, like, if you had asked her at any point along her journey, hey, do you think you'll spend, 14 months in Kenya? She'd be like, no, probably not. Right. But then she did. She just got back. She did. And then the big part of her story that I love is that, like, again, it was just these small steps that happened. In fact, we interviewed her in a previous podcast that I'll make sure to link, where right before she went to Kenya, and we're going to have her on here later, where she kind of talks about that time. But again, I just think of her because she took the steps. It wasn't just she woke up one day and was like, I'm going to Kenya. Okay. It was this whole step. And she paid attention to what broke her heart, what she was passionate about, what she was good and qualified in. And like, and the last thing that, like, I heard just stories of perfect example of is that, like, we joke that, like, you don't want me going there to do the work she did. I am not qualified. I am not trained. I'm also not, like, I care about it, but I'm nowhere near as passionate as she is. But I think that, like, that's the thing that is important for you to understand that you have skills, gifts, passions. Like, you have things that matter that we don't have. And so the world needs you. The world needs the work that you are going to do, the skills, the gifts, the passions you have. The world needs it. And again, if we can do that, if Deanna, of these stories, if people can do that, these aren't, these just huge people and stuff, but they're amazing in the work that they've done and the serving that they've done. And so, I mean, I think anybody can jump in, and I do think, again, the starting point is pay attention to what breaks your heart. What breaks your heart? What do you care about? What are you passionate about? But as we, I kind of shared a lot there beyond just how cool Deanna is, but for somebody that does want to make a difference, we've talked about, okay, pay attention to what breaks your heart, and, like, we've shared a little bit, but, like, what else? What other encouragement, I guess, would you give somebody that wants to jump in and serving in some way, like, or making a difference in the world? What encouragement would you give somebody?
I think, like, one of the things I just was, like, thinking about as you were talking, Nate, is that, like, I think it can be easy to, like, look at what somebody else is doing and, like, think, like, oh, I'm not doing that, so like, I'm not making a difference. But that is, like, absolutely not true. Like, if you are like doing and, like, leaning into something that breaks your heart and something that you're passionate about, and if you are, like, trying to help make things better in that way, or make things right, or make a difference in some capacity, like, it doesn't have to look like what somebody else is doing. Like, you can make a difference in whatever way, like, that looks like for you, and, like, it's gonna look different for all of us. Like what you were just saying, Nate, like, you didn't go serve in Kenya, but, like, there's other ways that you're making
right? You don't want me to serve in Kenya, just to be clear.
But, like, there's other ways that, like, you are like leaning into that, like, into making a difference, and, like, it looks different for everybody. And I think that is what is really cool and exciting, is that, like, there's so many different ways that we can make a difference, and so many different, like, I mean, we all have different strengths and things that we're good at and things that we're skilled in and things that we're passionate about that, like, other people don't have. And I think that that is, like, part of, like, God in us wanting us to, like, lean into that and to make things, like, more right.
Yeah, I think what I was thinking about is, I feel like serving is the one thing that you can just kind of dive headfirst into. Like, it's obviously, like you said, you're not just going to wake up and go to Kenya one day. Like, if you do, amazing. But, like, there are so many.
Maybe plan it out a little bit.
Yes. Like, there are certain service opportunities you should definitely plan out.
Right.
But I think serving is just one thing that you can just start doing in very simple little ways. and just, I mean, we could go on the whole thing of like habit stacking, but just like you can create these habits of just like making it a part of your routine of serving other people. And I think it's a lot easier than we realize. I think it's really, like you said, comparison is really easy to fall into of like, oh, I'm not doing what Sarah's doing, so therefore I'm not making a difference. So therefore I'm not going to do it type of thing.
Right.
But I think, again, like kind of answering the questions Nate were asking of like, what are you passionate about? What breaks your heart? And try those things, because it might not be what you think. Like you might think you're passionate about X, Y, and Z, and then you find these service opportunities and you don't really love it, and like that's okay. But I think the best way to start serving is just to start serving. Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things. Is just it's not as hard as it looks to get going. I think you just have to keep your eyes open for opportunities and just kind of. Honestly, you could just go on Google and say like service opportunities near me, and you'll probably find at least 3. But I think it's a lot easier than we make it out to be. And I know I fall into that trap too, but
yeah, that's huge. I do think like one thing that, I'm just thinking like with thoughts that people would have, they'd be like, well, I'm busy. Okay. We're all busy. Okay. All right. Or, just, I got this other thing that's really taking a lot of my time. And I think that's the thing that you're driving at is that, like, I mean, the question is, I mean, certainly start small and build over time. But if you want to make a difference in the world, if you want to leave a legacy, if you want to leave an impact, like it is not just one big trip that's going to do that. It is the consistency of consistently serving and making a difference. And, I think that even before serving is a thing that somebody could do, which might be the one thing that people maybe struggle with more than even serving, and that's giving money. because and here's why I say that is that if you're like, I want to make a difference. The thing is, Jesus, one of the things that many great things he said that, and we know this is true, regardless of what anybody thinks of Jesus, is that what you spend your money on, that's where your heart is. Okay. All right. Like when you spend money on something, that is where your emotions, your heart, and just attention goes to. And I can prove that by, if you pull up your bank account, I could look at what you spend money on and say, here's what you care about the most. Okay. And I could go through and I could tell you and be pretty accurate. Well, in the same way, if you want to develop this habit, this character, this passion for serving or making a difference, I mean, money is a place you can start. And the best thing about giving money is it takes a fraction of the time. It takes about 30 seconds to put your credit card information in, and you can do it. Now, I'm not saying just passively give and not care and stuff, but the thing is, if you start to give, if somebody starts to give, you will notice your heart going toward it. You'll start paying attention. I had a recent just example of this. You guys know this, but I got connected with a group in Spain. Okay. I've been there twice now, getting ready to go for the third time. Okay. We're going there to serve. But here's the thing. A year ago, all right, I did not know anybody in Spain. Okay. I did not know the group that we're working with. Like, I didn't know their names. Didn't know I knew they existed, sort of, but I didn't know specifics. Nothing. I go and visit, and I cared, and I started giving money, and over time giving money, and then I went back and served, and like I said, I'm going for a second time to serve, and continue to find ways to serve. Well, a big part of that is that the very first thing I did was I started giving money to this place, and naturally my heart followed that, and I care about Spain. Anytime Spain is mentioned on the news in any media, I'm like, I know people there, and I care about them, and like I'm going to pay attention to this. And so I know that with our audience being mostly college students, like, okay, so now these people just want me to give up time and to give money. The two things I don't have. I barely make any money, and I'm so busy with stuff. And the encouragement that I would give, and I'd like to, pass it to you guys for a final word of encouragement. But the encouragement that I would give in that is that the thing is, I understand being in college, you don't have a ton of money and you're stressed because you have a million things going on that take up a lot of time. I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
However, it is the habit. Like Emma,
Mhm.
when you said that, like I think you're really hitting on something that like it is the habit and that starts now. And so
Mhm.
even if it is as low as $1 a month,
Mhm.
like if you were consistently giving over time, that will grow.
Mm.
Yeah.
If you are consistently serving 20 minutes, 30 minutes a week, an hour a week, like you make it a priority to just take a little bit of time and make it not about yourself and to be like, how am I going to go serve somebody
Mhm.
this week? If you start there, you will see it grow over time. You
Yeah.
will see your heart, your passion move in that direction. And the exciting part that can be hard for any of us to think about.
Mm.
The exciting part is we're in our 20s now. I got like a week left, but you're in your most of our audience is in their 20s or wherever you are. But you know, you get to your 50s, your 60s, and you start now. The
Mhm.
legacy you're gonna leave
Yeah.
when you're 50, 60 years old, and you've started that now.
Mm-hmm.
That's an impact and a legacy that
Yeah.
I think any of us would want to
Yeah.
have.
Mhm.
But
True.
if you're like, if you go, well, I'm in college, I don't have that much money, don't have that much time. Okay. Well, next is going to be, I'm looking for a new job. I think that's busy. I'm dating, that's busy. I'm getting married, I have kids. You will always have a
Yeah.
reason to
Not to.
not do it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. But it's leaning into if you can take the time. And that's just my big encouragement for you is that like whatever barriers it is, they're real. That they're like I get
Mhm.
it. But just jump in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just jump in.
Yeah.
Just do it. That's good. And, you know, that's my monologue. I'm getting so worked up. I'm even coughing about it. But
Yeah.
I'll give you guys the final word. Was just some final encouragement or thoughts? You know, anything that you want to say. But yeah, just what would you encourage people with? Final word. Take us home.
Okay. I don't know if this is a great final word, but Nate, when you're talking about how people are just busy in general, and that's a big kind of barrier, whether you're in college or working some sort of job, I bet you could find opportunities within that. If you're
Yeah.
at college, your college probably has a community service office that you don't even have to find these opportunities. You can just go in and say, this is what I'm interested in. And I would probably put money on they have something there or
Yeah.
would be willing to find something to help you out. And oftentimes, I know when I was in college, I had to have community service hours to graduate. So like, again, you might be forced to do it, but again, it's starting
Yeah.
that habit. And on the flip side, if you're in, like if you work for a company or a school or whatever it is,
Mhm.
I bet you could create an opportunity that you could present to whoever you need to present and say, I want to start doing this, or I think we should partner with them.
Mhm.
And again, I would probably put money on that they would say yes,
Yeah.
because again, like that's not going to look great if they're like, no, we don't want to serve our community. Like,
Right.
I think again, like we said, it just start, but I think there are more opportunities around us than we like are able to recognize or even like see. And again, like it might be you have to start it or going to picking up the phone, which can be very intimidating. But I think
Yeah.
again, I empathize with you that we can be very busy. But like Nate said, I think starting if you were in your 20s or even earlier or wherever, if you're not in your 20s, don't take that as don't start.
Right.
But I think wherever you are, there's something there that you can start doing. And like Nate said, I think it can be something very little, but I
Yeah.
think it's a lot more accessible than you think it is.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
I think like just going off of what both of you were just saying, like I think that is like what's so exciting about like working with college students and
Mhm.
talking to college students is like you have like such a potential to like actually be the ones to make this difference. And like I mean, I know college students sometimes can get like a really bad reputation for like being selfish and like
Partiers.
but yeah, just like thinking about themselves and like not being generous and not like doing all of these things that we just talked about. But like that's where the opportunity comes in to like be the difference, like to be the one that is being generous, to be the one that is serving. And like I think that it doesn't take a lot, or like what you were just saying, like it can be easy to find something like that, to be like the one that is doing it even when no one else is around you. Like that is like in itself like making a difference by
Mhm.
being that one person to go first and to do that.
I do have one more thing. Sorry, I just thought of this when Sarah was saying, college students can probably get credit for service. Like if that's another, like if you need motivation to start serving and you're a college student, you can probably get credit for it.
Yeah.
I know my senior year or my junior year, it ended up working out really well where I was already serving at a place and my professor was like, oh, you can get credit. Like it was a weird like situation where I didn't have enough credits to be a full-time student for some odd reason because that never happens. And she's like, oh yeah, like we'll create this like internship where you just go there, serve weekly and just write like a little weekly report.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, okay, I had to write a weekly report, but it was like 2 paragraphs about what I did. Like it wasn't anything crazy on top of it. But like, again, if you're a college student looking for motivation, or like I said, if you're busy and trying to like, I know as a college student, I was always looking for ways to double up on things. Like if you want to start serving, but don't know with class schedule, like see if you can start serving as credit for class.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think that like the big takeaway here is just jump in, right? Like I think one of the things I love about college students that that y'all both touched on is that I don't think that the lack of passion or ideas is the issue. Like I definitely see that like people have dreams. I think that they also have an understanding of how big those dreams are and that it takes a lot of work. And so consequently I think that they are like, what how do I start? Like that's such a big dream. What can I do? And that's my encouragement, right?
Yeah.
Is that like, yeah, it's a big dream. Keep dreaming big.
Yeah.
But if you need to start small, start small. That is the place to go because starting small can lead to big things. And so I think that I think that was very, very just helpful conversation. And that was my hope for you guys is that that you found this helpful. We will, like I said, be sharing Deanna's story soon. But in the meantime, there's something that's super important that everybody does. Ladies, tell them, let them know. What is it? What do they need to do?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome, my friends. See you guys.
Bye.